We're recording.
3, 2, 1.
Theme song. We're back, and it's everybody's anticipated year-end, decade-end list.
The only one people listen to. This is a once-in-a-decade podcast.
Once in a decade. You're never going to get another one unless we keep this up for another decade, which, you know...
That seems like a long time.
Right in the comments whether or not you want us to keep doing this for another 10 years, please.
If we don't get any comments this time, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, and you'll be out of luck.
Pressure's on.
Mm-hmm. But because we got a lot to cover, Matt, even though this is the #1 beer and music podcast on the internet, we got to keep the beer shout-outs to a minimum today. So, why don't you tell the folks what you're drinking?
Well, that's real sad because I got an interesting one here. It's the Harpoon Dunkin' Coffee Porter, as in Dunkin' Donuts, and literally the label looks like a Dunkin' coffee, the entire thing. So it's kind of neat. It's pretty neat, you know. And it has,
how does it taste?
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like burnt plastic, so it doesn't taste like Dunkin' coffee exactly. They didn't exactly nail that, but
damn,
it's got some coffee taste. Is that shade? Shade on Dunkin'?
Yeah, you threw some serious Dunkin' shade right there, and
dude, we just lost him as sponsor.
We just lost the Dunkin' sponsorship I was working on.
I blew that account.
What's your favorite East Coast coffee then?
I mean, I try to go local as much as possible.
Oh yeah. What's that big one that they got there? Duck Boys.
Duck Boy.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. There's Allegheny or something. I don't know. Gregory's is a popular place. I don't know, man. I just go around the corner, pick something up.
Michael Chips Coffee Roasters.
Yeah, Saint Bernard's.
Yeah.
Roar's Test coffee.
Fig Toe. That's a good one.
Dregs.
Dregs.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good name. Anyways, yeah, this one's pretty good. It looked like a Dunkin' coffee, and I thought that this is the most corporate synergy beer I've ever seen in my entire life.
Okay, perfect.
And it worked. They sold me.
All right. Well, I'm drinking. I didn't sell out for this one, Matt. We'll have to talk about that later. But I am having a Seventh Son Brewery assistant manager beer, and this one caught my eye because it's got a nice little picture of a kitty cat drinking a beer on it. I like it a lot. As far as taste goes, it's kind of a tropical, little fruity American pale ale. A little hoppy, a little new age hoppiness to it, if you catch my drift. Slightly sweet, ever so slightly tropical.
Not too strong.
Yeah,
fruity.
Not too strong. It's very eminently drinkable. Pours nice. It is very golden clear. If you can get your hands on it, go for it. I do like Seventh Son quite a bit, and this is a fun beer for all.
Aw.
Mm-hmm.
What a great message.
Yeah, here, listen to that.
I think I've had that one. It's really good.
Yeah, listen to this.
Oh,
you like that?
This is
nice...
FTMB, end of the year, our favorite ASMR of 2019.
Can you hear that fizz? Whoa. What was that? Oh wait, here's a little bit more ASMR for you. Oh. All right.
I don't like FTMB ASMR.
FTMB ASMR out. Okay.
Too many letters.
All right. Well, unless you want to talk more about the beers, I think we're ready to jump in with our numbers.
No, I'm ready.
Okay. Cut it out. All right. On to the number 3, our third favorite album of 2019. Matt, hit me with yours.
Number 3, Morbid Stuff by Paak. Which I know happens to be on your list as well.
Yeah, that's my number 2. We did a whole podcast about it, actually.
We did, so there's really nothing to say about it. So moving on.
check out our past podcasts if you haven't already.
Yeah, listeners. This was a great, fun punk album. Lyrically sad and depressing, but backed by fun melodies and very exciting kind of
upbeat, relatable.
Yeah,
definitely an album that to summarize the year of 2019.
Yeah, it's
pretty morbid.
It was. I think. Did we talk about this? Probably. If it was your favorite of their records, it's definitely my favorite of theirs so far.
It's. I go back and forth. I mean, I do really enjoy it quite a bit, even though sometimes it's hard for me when I like fall in love with a band via like one of their earlier albums. Sometimes that just sticks with me on like a beyond just a objective level. There's a lot of like emotion tied to it, so it's kind of hard sometimes for me to be like, oh, this isn't my favorite pop album anymore. To some of their earlier releases, but I do enjoy it quite a bit. And one note I had was of the like the pop punk kind of emo-ish revival bands, even though I wouldn't quite put pop in the emo revival, they all sort of came up around similar times in the mid-2010s, early mid-2010s. Pup is one of the few ones that are still going strong, I think. A lot of other ones have faded out, or their output hasn't quite been what it used to be. But Pup kind of keeps going strong.
Yeah, they've fizzled. But
even at the end of the decade.
They get better each time. I think they get better at writing hooks, and each new record is more fun and cohesive.
It's tighter. It's a very tight album.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for their next trick, they should go full pop rock, like kind of Weezer style.
You think so?
That's my challenge to them.
Pup challenge. We would challenge accepted.
Probably
DM us. Yeah,
I'm assuming so. But that's all. That was my number 3. My number 3 favorite album of 2019.
Number 3. All right, my number 3. Sea of Worry by Have a Nice Life. The prolific goth rock industrial band. I don't know. It's really hard to tie them down to any one genre, considering they kind of are their own genre. But with this album, they kind of put on, put on a bit more of a surf rock, gothy, post-punk flavor than they have in the past. It was a highly anticipated album for me, considering their first album, Death Consciousness, is probably one of my favorite albums of all time. And this is only their third release in that over 10-year period. So I was looking forward to it quite a bit. And while it didn't, for me, reach the heights that Death Consciousness did reach, I did quite enjoy it still a lot. And it's probably the most accessible of the Have a Nice Life albums out there. So if you are looking to get into that band, and you aren't too much into more experimental or noisy or loud music, this might be a good entry point for you.
Nice. Their music to me always tells a story. There's always it's dynamic, changes, varied throughout the entire thing.
There's like a aesthetic feel to it almost. Like even if the lyrics aren't quite telling a story, it is very good at conveying emotion across just the soundscape. So
right, there's like texture to it.
yeah, that's a perfect word. And the single Science Beat, I think when I first heard it and when I was writing this review a few weeks ago, it was sticking with me quite a bit then. I would say it's one of my favorite singles of this year, but certainly I don't know where I'm going with this, but
You liked it.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Let's go on.
Hey, you liked it. Brag off.
Yep. Okay.
Don't listen to the haters, man.
Yeah, check it out. Check out all their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've talked about them before, and I know you're a big fan, so check them out, listeners. My number two favorite album of 2019 was Hello Exile by the Menzingers.
Another band that we both are not shy about loving out loud, and I don't care who knows.
I honestly, can I be honest right now?
Be honest with me, Matt.
I don't care who knows it.
Wow.
I don't even care.
We got a bold move over here, folks.
Bold. You know what else is bold? Putting this album number 2.
It just quite. I don't agree. I don't agree with it, but you do it, man. You do it. You be bold.
Not one of my favorite Menzingers attempts.
It's such a sad way to put an album. This album was an attempt.
That was unnecessarily mean.
It's your second favorite album.
Yeah, I know. I was just it's funny. It's a funny.
I think this might be a good time to interject and say that 2019, I think for both of us, wasn't quite the year of music that we had hoped for. I struggled to put together this list, honestly. Yeah,
same. I guess we'll summarize it at the end. But yeah, it's worth noting now that it was a very lackluster year. Maybe the most lackluster of the decade.
Yeah, at least for what our tastes are. And this really isn't. These aren't like the objectively best albums of the year, but like our favorites of the year. And I think for what our tastes generally are, or what we look for, this year was kind of a bereft of quality releases. Yep,
not much gripped me. But you know what? The Menzingers are the kings of nostalgia punk, and they did that again. They do that really well. This album doesn't have the same edge. What I would say is the edge or the grittiness, the griminess of some of their better albums. But they're also getting older. Like, how long can you keep doing the same thing? Can you get edgier?
That was kind of their last album's whole shtick, was that, hey, we're getting older now. Where do we go now that our 20s are over? But I feel like they didn't evolve past that. They just sort of they kind of forgot that they wrote that album, and then went back to what they were doing even before the party was over. If you catch my drift.
I'm catching it, girl. I'm swimming in your drift right now, man. Swimming in a vat of your drift.
You might need to get checked out by a doctor again today, Matt.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll go back. There were some great moments on this album, though.
Yeah, there were some fun singles.
Strain Your Memory, I think, is a classic, a Menzingers classic. I think one of my favorite of their songs of all time. And Anna, I think, is another classic, another one of my favorites. I would probably put those two songs in my top 10 favorite Menzinger songs of all time.
Yeah,
it's really the back part of the album after Strain Your Memory that is pretty bland and didn't stick with me.
Just kind of stuff we'd heard before.
Yeah, we've been there, done that. And I guess the one disappointing thing in addition is that, you know, they have an opportunity to do something different and go in a different direction. And there was also the first two songs, or the first two songs were singles. So the album didn't have that new exciting Menzingers, like, what are they going to do? I had already heard the first two songs on the album, so it's like, oh, okay, this is old, and it felt stale a little bit, I think, because of that. But ultimately, if I'm trying to pick out my favorite albums this year, what I listen to, I still listen to Hello Exile a lot.
You
And
did.
it's nice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like listening to it. Um, there's just not that many other albums this year that I was really into.
I feel that. I did listen on the week of its release. I did listen to it quite a bit, but for me,
Yeah.
it just didn't stick around for very long.
Yeah, it's definitely died down for me as well. But like I said, some of those classic songs I'll always go back to. They're really excellent, and the album as a whole isn't bad, and I can listen to the whole thing still, but it's not their greatest achievement to date so far.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It is what it is. It's 2019, man.
It's
What are you gonna
2019.
do?
Yeah,
What are you gonna do?
can't do much. That's what I say.
Nothing now. Year's over. Ugh.
So yeah, put it behind us. Yeah, yeah.
Ugh. See ya. Nice knowing ya.
Smell you later. Okay. Well, we already know what my number 2 was. Pup's Morbid Stuff. So I'm just gonna jump right into my number 1 here.
Oh, jumping.
Yeah, just gonna jump you, and that is edit in a drum roll, edit in something. I don't know. Here, blah. Was The Comet is Comings. Is that how you say it? The band is The Comet is Coming, and the album is Trust in the Lifeforce of the Deep Mystery. And this is a kind of alternative, futuristic, spacey jazz album, of all things. And I think going back to my previous statement of there wasn't much in our general wheelhouse that gripped us, I started to look outside of that wheelhouse. I started looking at the whole car, and I looked at the steering wheel and I said, hey, maybe if I take this bad boy for a ride up into space, I can find myself a nice little jazz album to sit down and sip my tea to.
No, wait a minute. What kind of car is this? You're going up to space in a car? That doesn't sound like
Matt, it's 2020, baby. You can do whatever you want.
Woo! They got space cars now. You gotta be kidding me, man. Oh man, I love it.
I'll let you go. I like that character. I like that.
I don't know how that guy got in here.
Kick him out of the studio. All right, but anyway, I do want to actually say some stuff about this album. It is great.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It's this band is fronted by saxophonist Shabaka Hutchings, who is a great kind of modern alternative jazz musician, and he's a great alternative to Kamasi Washington, who made pretty big headlines earlier in this decade for his The Epic jazz album. It's called The Epic, and that can kind of be a bit too esoteric for most tastes, including mine. It's a little bit heavy to sift through and really sit down and enjoy The Epic, or most Kamasi Washingtons for me. But this is kind of just right in that perfect area of strange enough to be interesting, but also listenable enough for the kind of average listener to appreciate what's going on. There's some really awesome triumphant moments in songs like Blood of the Past, which is probably my favorite single of the year, and Summon the Fire. Both are, if you only want to listen to one or two songs off this album, go check those out. But yeah, it's really fun, really lively. Nothing else that I'd really ever heard like it before. And if it is kind of up your alley, so to speak, check out Shabaka's other band, Melt Yourself Down, and his he's in three of his major bands, and then the other ones are called Sons of Kemet, and those are all three very different yet accessible varieties on his style of jazz saxophone. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please go check it out. It definitely is a great album, and I was happy that I found something like it this year.
Now, go out, listeners, and go get you some jazz.
That's good for you.
That's what FTMB is telling you. So, Riley, I got a question. What does space sound like?
It's terrifying.
I'm imagining bleeps and bloops, robots and aliens. Am I right?
It sounds a bit like this.
Now that's terrifying.
Did you get all that?
Loud and clear, over and out.
Anyway.
Well, after that, I don't know how we can continue, but we will.
Okay, folks. Continue.
That sounds like a great album that I haven't listened to, so I'm learning things.
Matt.
You send me, buy me the vinyl and ship it to me.
Buy you the vinyl. I'll buy you something. Knuckle sandwich.
Yeah. Are you gonna buy me?
From the
You're gonna buy me a
market.
knuckle sandwich.
Yeah. Pig knuckle.
Hey, Riley, you want a Hertz donut?
No, I'll pass.
Okay. Are you sure?
Go with your fucking album.
Alright. Number one.
This bit is bad and it should stop.
What? You want a Hertz Dunkin' donut?
I'll give you a...
Ventura by Anderson .Paak. Now, I've put Anderson .Paak number one on previous best of lists. Yeah, because I like him. Guess what? Deal with it.
Why do you like so many of your favorite bands, man? What the fuck,
yeah,
dude?
Get over it, all right? You know what? This one sounds quite a bit like Malibu, which is the other Anderson .Paak album that I loved. This is actually kind of his... Come on, seriously?
Sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect. Didn't mean to disrespect you. I didn't mean to disrespect Mr. Paak, Mr. Manny Paak.
Dude, he does not appreciate that.
Go ahead, just let it go, man. Learn to let shit slide.
All right, letting it slide right now.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Letting it slide. Okay. Sounds a lot like Malibu. So this is actually kind of his B-sides album from Oxnard. Oxnard was more of his trap rap, hip-hop oriented. Didn't have the same blues, jazz,
you got a little jazz.
Kind of hodgepodge. Yeah, but it was more hip-hop focused, Oxnard was. Ventura is back to that hodgepodge of musical sounds and flavors, and it's much more diverse, and that's what I love. And even though it's technically his B-sides, to me it doesn't feel like that at all.
Well, this album is specifically like things that didn't make the cut previously.
Yeah, I mean, but he's a musician. He's always making hip hop. He's always making this kind of like jazzy, blues infused music. And this album is also lush and sexy, and it has that spring, summertime feel. It feels like Southern California. And I know, like, when it gets sunny out, when it's nice out, when it warms up, I'm gonna be blasting this again. I'm gonna be turning this one on because it always has that feel, and like it enhances the sunny day experience for me.
Yeah, I remember you saying that about his previous album, Malibu. Yeah, you said that was like your perfect spring album or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Same kind of deal. This one's different and new in fresh ways. And I think he takes it. I think his rapping is taken up another notch. I think he's a lot better on this album rapping.
Good.
Yeah, so he's getting better. So improvement. Everyone's trying to do that. What are your resolutions for 2020, listeners? Put that in the comments.
Those are good resolutions.
You know, Riley, you know what your resolution should be?
What?
Not disrespecting the number one album. But I moved on, dude.
You moved on. I'll do better. I promise.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Those are my favorite albums.
All right. Any honorable mentions you'd like to mention honorably?
Well. You don't say.
Welly.
Guess what, mister? I do.
Oh, hit me with it.
A few other albums that I enjoyed this year were I Love You, It's a Fever Dream by the Tallest Man on Earth. I don't even know what number album he's on. He's been making music for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy this one when it first came out, but definitely flamed out for me. It's very sweet, but it doesn't have that just simplicity, that beautiful simplicity that he used to have. So the same kind of magic isn't there for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else I liked was Igor by Tyler the Creator.
That is good. That's a fun album. It's a good one.
Did you enjoy that?
I did.
It's pretty good.
Very different from his previous works, but I appreciated it and I did like it. It just didn't captivate me enough to really make my list, but it was an honorable mention.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Jesus is King by Kanye. I mean, we got a Kanye album this year.
Are you did you come around to it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not deep into it. It's not one of my favorite of his albums, but I've listened to it quite a bit. It was, I gotta say, it was the best gospel album I listened to all year.
Possibly of your entire life.
Probably.
Oh,
Top 20 for sure.
Good.
And what else? You Deserve Love by White Reaper. I know we've talked about this, not our favorite White Reaper, but White Reaper's White Reaper. Like, we got another one of their albums, and it's good. It's very fun and poppy and exciting.
Still, I was they were on was it Jimmy Kimmel recently? Mm-hmm. And reading all the YouTube comments were like, rock music isn't dead. It's like, wow, a song with a melody? Ain't ever heard that in 2019. Like, it's just what I'm trying to say about that is they are kind of a classically sounding rock band, which all you dads out there are for sure gonna love. And we did a whole podcast about that one, didn't we? Did we not? Mm-hmm. We didn't. Yeah. We had talked about it, but I guess we never did. I guess it didn't really capture us enough to really merit an entire podcast.
No, but I do find it very wholesome. I mean, the album title is called You Deserve Love.
Yeah, it is wholesome. It's feel good. I like it, but like you said, it wasn't the most captivating of the White Reaper albums for me.
No, for sure. But when we saw them in Louisville and their parents were there.
Yeah.
And the lead singer Tony Esposito, like he was like, I'm so happy my parents are here, and was like talking with them, and it made me think that he kind of writes music with them in mind.
You think so? Yeah.
That he's kind of writing music like this band makes music that his parents who are middle aged would enjoy. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of wholesome and funny to me.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that.
Good.
All right.
And just got a couple others I want to shout out. Upset by Upset, self-titled album. It reminds me of Superchunk. That's a really fun one. And this one, the last one I wanted to honorably mention might be one of yours as well, Charli by Charli XCX.
That came onto my radar late into the game, and I did like it quite a bit, but I didn't listen to it until after the year was over, and I watched I saw some of the other best of lists. It's a bit too poppy for me to like want to put on all the time, or really like in most situations, but I can appreciate it for what it is, most definitely.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I was also late on it, so I guess technically I don't think I even listened to it in 2019.
I think I'm in the same boat as you.
But I like it. It's it is very poppy. It's a pop album, but I can listen to the whole thing. It's really nice. It's really good. I think it's 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 unique, it's creative, and I mean it's just got melodies that get stuck in your head,
Hmm.
and it's a great listen. So that's it. That's it.
Okay. My honorable mentions first go to uh, these actually aren't albums. It's two EPs by Oklahoma City sludge metal noise rock band Chat Pile. That's like chat, like we're chatting together. But I guess if you chat is some sort of waste, toxic waste in the Midwest that is from mining. So it's a pile of toxic waste. This band. That gives you kind of a imagery of what they're all about. Disgusting, disgusting lyrics about cannibalism and dismembering and
Oh yeah.
wanting to kill yourself. The really beautiful, beautiful lyrics. But if you can get past all that, if that doesn't bother you, some really
Not at all.
some really great noisy shit in there that I do enjoy quite a bit.
Why didn't they just call themselves Toxic Waste Pile? You know?
I think honestly, I think that would have when I first saw Chat Pile, I honestly did think it was like I thought it might have been a like a campy like pop band like a pile of
Yeah.
us all chatting together like so no, it's not that. Yeah.
Well, okay.
And
All right.
let's see. Another one for me is "Show Me the Body's Dog Whistle." Not quite as fascinating of a genre bending experiment as their first album, but still pretty fun punk rock infused banjo music. They don't have an electric guitar in this; it's actually a banjo. So if that is interesting to you, go check that out. And the Australian art punk band Tropical Fuck Storm with their album Braindrops. Another really fun and interesting one. If you're into the art punk scene, some really, really, really great singles off of that. So go check that out if you are so inclined.
Can you give me your best Australian impression?
Crikey, mate, I'm on fire. Why is all these
Yeah.
fires?
Oh my god! All right, edit that out.
All right,
Christ.
please. Anyway, if you're listening to
Shut
this,
down
please, please go donate some to the firefighters out there. At the time of recording, Australia is burning. So I did that on. It was a bit of a lark, but it was also very serious. go go support them. Go fuck climate change. Anyway, you asked for it.
Immediately,
The police are after me after that one.
Oh yeah, we're canceled. They found out the cancel police are here. We're knocking on your doorstep already.
Okay. And if I could shout out one last one, I forgot. This was another one that was kind of late to the party. This actually showed up in my Discover Weekly on Spotify like a couple weeks ago, and it's the album Caligula by Lingua Ignota. I honestly really don't know how to describe this kind of religious symbolism tinged doom rock metal of some sort. I'm really bad at actually pinpointing exactly what metal is, but the lead singer of this is a woman, and she has like the deepest, like scariest voice of most women that I have heard in the genre. So go check that out. She's a multi-instrumentalist, classically trained, really interesting, and the song "Do You Doubt Me, Traitor" is quite, and I don't use this word very willy-nilly, but it is quite epic to behold. So go check that out.
Wow. It sounds like you listen to a lot of pretty hardcore stuff, buddy.
Yeah.
Is that safe to say? What were you listening to this year overall? I mean, we nailed down some albums, but
I think
in general,
just in general, I mean, older Menzingers albums are almost always on repeat for me. Listen to a lot of Death Consciousness. Have a Nice Life's first album, another favorite of mine. Let me see. I'm looking at my entire list here. The album Sunbather by Deaf Heaven, another kind of loud, hardcore, kind of extreme music. And that's actually going to be... We're going to get to that one later, so I'm not going to say too much about it. Let's see.
You put me onto Norwegian death metal or black metal this year.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. Burzum?
Yeah, Burzum. Great.
That's intense.
Yeah, pretty classic.
That makes me want to fight. It's actually not good.
Yeah.
I can't listen to that if I've been drinking.
You like want to punch something.
I'll hurt myself.
Yeah, Philosophim, I think is how you pronounce that album by Burzum. What else was there? I got into a lot of ambient music this year by an artist named Grouper, like the fish, Grouper. But
you mentioned her last time,
and she's not named after a fish, but that's the easiest way. She was part of like a cult that called themselves like Groupers or something, like a group. And then to scratch that unfortunate itch that has been placed on me from the lack of who am I thinking of? Shit. We'll edit this in. Who broke up?
Justin Bieber.
No.
Big Ups.
Big Ups, yeah. The Big Ups shaped void in my heart was filled by older bands who I assume probably had some influence on them, and that's Moss Icon, another kind of interesting art punky string of consciousness lyric spoken word style punk rock. So go check that out. But yeah, I listened to a lot. Oh, and Shoo Shoo, the experimental band Shoo Shoo. Their album A Promise. I've just been getting into them like this past month, and this one has had a profound effect on me. I think I sent it over to you, and I'm not sure if you quite got into it as much as I did. It's very weird, very experimental, but if you're into that sort of thing, go check that out.
Did you send it to me?
I did. You said this
Shoo-shoo?
was... You said, yeah, Shoo Shoo. You listened to it, I think, on the train, and you're like, this is fucking weird.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah,
that is weird. It's very weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit too out there for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of spooky.
It is a little spooky.
Lyrically, it's a little frightening as well.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Matt, what was on repeat for you this year?
A lot of Latin music this year.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that.
Spotify told me, at least. And the thing is, a lot of that is mostly singles. It's pop music. It's mostly single based. So it's song by song. I really can't put an entire album on my list for 2019.
Mm-hmm.
But all kinds of stuff all over the place. Rosalia, J Balvin, Nicky Jam.
Yeah, this is a good year for Rosalia. Like she basically broke through. Her and J Balvin broke through the Latin pop barrier. I feel like they're huge in just standard pop music now. I feel like.
Yeah, they're like the biggest artists in the world.
Yeah,
I think J Balvin is the most streamed artist in the entire world.
Is he really? Wow.
Yeah, like one of his songs that came out this year, I think, is the most streamed. So it is pretty crazy. Yeah, they're part of American pop music and just like globally are really big. And I was definitely listening to all that. I also got into Brazilian funk this year.
I listened to a lot of Brazilian music too.
Yeah,
Novos
it's nice.
Novos Baianos. I think our friend Encore, he introduced me to that band.
Nice. Yeah,
And Os
mine was
Mutantes.
mostly the what's that?
Os Mutantes was the other one that I
Okay.
listened to.
Nice. Most of mine was kind of like the club-oriented, like dance music, and it's funk, it's funky, it's different rhythms that I've never heard before, and sometimes the lyrics are just complete nonsense, but it's fun,
It's just
good time
fun.
music, and hopefully that's what I'll be enjoying when I'm there.
Oh yeah, you're heading down there next month, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Exciting.
we're like a month away now. That's fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. I'm stoked. But yeah, those were kind of the different things that didn't show up on my albums of 2019.
Yeah.
The rest, I think I pretty much covered it. I kind of course, listen to old Menzingers stuff like I always do. Some older stuff, I was kind of digging into some of our music from the college years.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit getting back into some electronic, kind of feeling out
Interesting.
what's there.
What's out there
No-
these days? Or older
yeah,
stuff?
not so much new stuff, just kind of the oldies, just
Oh.
appreciating the nostalgia of the oldies that we kind of grew up on, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it has been a decade since
Yeah,
our
it's
first
fun
year
to
of
reminisce
college.
and look back on those days. And
You throw on a little bangarang every once in a while.
yeah, man, some Skrillex, some Dead Mouse, listen to 4 times 4 equals 12.
Hell yeah.
Honestly,
Honestly, I would like to go back and listen to that. It's been a while since I have.
It's still really good. I mean, I like that stuff a lot, and it definitely brings me back to a very specific time and place, and it's fun. I enjoy it.
It is. It's like the womb. It's a nice, warm, and inviting place with great music.
Yeah, yeah, and I would 100% only describe those feelings as a womb. It's the only way to do it.
It's the only, if you're a man who knows something, it's that. Trust me.
If you've been there, listeners, if you haven't been in a womb, I highly recommend it.
It's real great.
It's a hoot and a holler.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my 2019.
Cool. Oh, I totally forgot. I started off, and this will be my last one. I started off the year obsessed with this album called Long Season by the Japanese band Fishmans. It's just one track, 35 minutes, and it's like an amalgamation of, I think it's like found sounds and other interesting things, and the lead singer kind of singing over it. It's interesting. It's great I put it on at work a lot just as background music, and I love it. So check that out if you're into like sort of I literally don't know how to describe the genre, but it's like electronic. I'm gonna butcher it, but anyway, check it out. It's interesting, experimental, fun stuff.
That would be a great album name. Found sounds and other interesting things.
That is, you never know.
That's my next album that I'm working on.
Found sounds and other interesting things. Okay. So do we want to cap off 2019 then?
Yeah. What I'm looking forward to in 2020, just real quick. Dogleg. I've mentioned them.
Oh yeah, you like Dogleg.
Here. Yeah. They just have an EP out that I really, really liked. And they're finally going to release a full-length album on Triple Crown Records. There was quite a bit of hype when they broke the news. I think it's going to be a big deal, and I'm stoked. We also broke the news on Twitter on FTMB_podcast. I mentioned them at one point, and then I said, fellas, when's the new album coming? And they said coming soon.
Oh, nice.
And so you heard it here.
Breaking investigative journalism right here.
Exactly. We broke the news. Don't forget it.
I didn't think about this, but there is something that I am looking forward to, and this might be on your list. Of Hopalong fame, Frances Quinlan.
Yes.
She
I'm actually. Go ahead.
She's been teasing a new a solo album with 3 singles at this point, and I'm really hoping that this album drops soon because I've really enjoyed all 3 of these singles.
She did set a date. It's January 31st.
Oh shit! 11 days from the time of this recording.
Yeah. She's actually going to do a pop-up art installation in New York.
Oh hell yeah!
That I'm planning to go to. So it's going to be. I think it's literally
dog.
just her art. I don't know if it's. I don't know if the album will be playing in the background or something. I don't know if the music is actually involved, but I plan on going to that. And then she plays in New York, but I think I'll be gone and won't be able to go to the concert.
Oh, that sucks. I'll have to. Did she release all tour dates?
Yeah. She sent out. I got her. I'm subscribed to her email newsletter. So.
Okay. Well.
She emailed me personally. She emailed FTMB.
Dearest Matt.
It's part of the press release. It's
Okay.
part of her press tour. She's like,
Yeah.
FTMB, I know you guys are interested in this. I want to give you a sneak peek, But yeah, that'll be interesting and exciting. The singles are different than the typical hop along sound.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll give it a full review when it drops in 11 days.
Oh yeah, baby. Full on review.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple other albums that are coming out in 2020. Since we're talking about it real quick, we have a new Soccer Mommy album coming, which I know I really liked. I don't know.
Yeah,
her
first album. I assume it was her first. Like I enjoyed it, but it wasn't. It didn't stick with me too much.
Okay. And a new Mo Trooper, and I think I mentioned one of their albums casually at some point, but I'm intrigued. Let's say it's not one of the big artists that I'm always anticipating, but I'm intrigued. I want to hear what they got up their sleeves.
Sweet.
That's it.
I got one. I don't know if he's anticipating on dropping one, but he did drop a cool single, and that is Neon Indian. Speaking of things we used to listen to in the womb, I would love to hear a new Neon Indian album. He released a single, Toyota Man, last year, and I hope that maybe is hinting at something new, but who's to say? We'll have to wait.
Yeah, you sent me that. It was interesting. I'm interested.
All right. Well, we are at the 48-minute mark. So I think we should probably split this. We are going to do our Best of the Decade podcast. So this will be like a 2-parter. So thank you for listening to our Best of 2019. We're going to sign off here, and we'll be uploading our Best of the Decade, and you can watch it. You can listen to it right afterwards. It'll be a perfect little double feature for you.